Thank you, Sean. Thank you, AGC, everyone that came out tonight. I really appreciate you being here tonight. I hope you find some value in what I have to share with you today. My name is Philip Hilt. I'm a leadership and career coach. So my mission is to help ambitious leaders gain the confidence, the clarity, and the vision needed to achieve their goals and then advance their careers. Before I go any further, I do have a bit of a confession. I just want to get out of the way right now. I wrote a speech that I was really happy with about 2 weeks ago, and about 24 hours ago, I was like, it's time to revisit this speech. So bear with me. I got my notes in hand because of that, but trust me, we'll get through it. So what I want to share with you tonight is my approach to creating a foundation for leadership, development, and growth. And what I've learned is that this is not just for leaders. This is an approach that you can use in your personal life to accomplish your goals or overcome an obstacle that you're facing. I'm going to challenge all of you tonight to think of something that you're trying to accomplish, a goal you need to achieve. Maybe it's something new you don't know how to start. Maybe it's something you've started and you're not sure how to proceed or you're stuck. Maybe it's an unforeseen obstacle that's popped up in your life and you're not sure how to approach it. I'm going to challenge you to think of that as I work through my approach. Hopefully it'll be insightful enough where you can use some of my insight to take action and improve your situation. So think about that as we get started here. Before I go any further and get into the details, I do want to share some comments about why I rewrote this speech. I think it's valuable information and it'll help you understand where I'm at. The number one reason is a goal that I have in my personal and professional development right now is to become a better speaker. So this is a great opportunity for me. This is actually a stretch for me. This is getting me out of my comfort zone. So getting feedback and putting myself out there is a way of challenging myself. In order to do that, I joined Toastmasters group in January of this year. And the last 8 weeks or so, I've given 7 speeches, I think. What? So these are short speeches, like 3 to 5 minutes. But still, yes, that was my thought.
Sorry.
Yes, it can be a lot. It was very overwhelming. But it's such a great place to go. Jim, my mentor, is here today. It's a great place to get feedback and learn how to speak and form speeches. And so I wrote this 2 weeks ago, but then so much has happened in the past 2 weeks. And I've learned so much, I was like, I can't just roll with a speech that I wrote 2 weeks ago that's not as good as I can do. So that was a big reason to revisit the speech. The other one was more of a personal obstacle and struggle that I've been facing recently as well. A lot's happened in a couple weeks. So I've been struggling with this idea of who I am as a person, my professional self and my personal self. Does anyone else feel like they're two different people sometimes, or maybe in their church or going to work? Raise a hand. Anybody feel that sometimes? All right. I'm so glad you raised your hands because I went through a moment where I was like, man, I am flipping out. I'm having an identity crisis. So I'm really glad you guys can relate. So that thought made me realize what I want to be and what I've done in the past. And I realized I set some pretty sharp boundaries and I created some walls for myself between the person I am as a professional and who I am personally. I decided it was time for change. So that made me rethink this speech as well. For me, as a professional, I look at these 2 images of kind of my 2 identities. This one up on the left was kind of who I was as a professional. There's a clear starting line and a finish line. I created a lane for myself, and I boxed myself in, and I was full steam ahead sprinting to that next goal. I achieved a lot. It served me pretty well. But in my personal life, as I reflected, I was the complete opposite. I didn't have really stern goals or objectives, and I was kind of all over the place. I was kind of going with the flow. Some of my friends here are tonight who I'm sure when I said, hey, I'm giving this speech, were probably like, really? Philip is doing this? And that made me think too, is like, why do I have these big barriers? And so I'm glad some of you can relate to that. And that's also something I'm working on through my development, and I'm implementing my own strategies to work through that. So it's been very eye-opening for me. So the remedy for me for this situation is to work through this development process to better understand who I am and then advance and grow forward. So I'm going to get into how I achieve this with the leaders I work with and how I'm using it for myself to better grow and develop myself as a person. To create a strong foundation for your growth and development, I have 4 pieces that I walk people through and that I use myself. Is to reflect, personalize, visualize, and then act. Those are the 4 pieces that create a strong foundation. All right, I challenge you guys to think of a goal you're working on or an obstacle. Raise a hand, who's got that identified? Some of you? All right. All right, if you haven't found it yet, think about it in the next few seconds and think about that. The first piece is to reflect. So in this piece of creating a strong foundation for your development and growth, you need to identify what in your life has brought fulfillment, but also what has brought dissatisfaction. It's time to think about the previous decisions you made in your life that have brought you to this point right now. I challenge professionals I work with to think about their career path, what they've done, what they haven't done, how they got to where they're at right now. It's a time to think about your values and your motivators. For me, speaking in front of people, in front of an audience, is something I want to do to help my business so I can help more people, help people achieve their goals and advance their career. Without this challenge for myself and goal, I was at risk of not being able to help the people I want to help. Speaking clearly, effectively, and influentially is critical for me in my growth. The next piece to creating that strong foundation for growth and development is personalize. In this area, you need to identify your signature strengths and your blind spots. You need to engage in thought exercises to dig down deep and identify what drives you. You need to ask yourself, who do I want to be? What do I want to accomplish? This is also a part in your development and growth where it's critical to seek support. I've had plenty of moments in my life, my personal life and professional life, where I've been too stubborn or proud to ask for help. The only thing that that's resulted in is more hardship and wasted time. I tell people I work with, feedback is a gift. If someone gives you feedback, you should thank them for it. You should accept it. You should consider if that is something that's going to help you reach your goals in your life. If it's something valuable, you should use it. No one here or anywhere in the world is expected to be an expert on handling all your emotions, all your past failures, and all the other debris that gets kicked up as you work on change for yourself and improving your life. It's a lot. So feedback is a gift. The people that we admire the most that have achieved great things, they haven't done it on their own. They've received help along the way as well. The next piece to creating that strong foundation for your growth and development is to visualize. This is where you need to see yourself from this day forward being that person who can take on challenges and work on overcoming setbacks. You need to ask yourself, who am I when I'm at my best? What do I need to do in order to grow as a person? This is also a time to consider those traits and values that serve you the most, that get you to meeting your goals. But it's also to think about those traits and values that no longer serve you. You must let go of past failures because we all change. It can be uncomfortable to accept those changes and to lean into your true identity. If you're having trouble leaning into that true identity, you'll need to take a step back. Think about a mindset mindset shift to get you back on the right track. The final piece to creating that strong foundation for growth and development is ACT. You can reflect and personalize and visualize and do all that hard, heavy work, but if you don't act, it means nothing. And I'm not talking about when it's convenient for you or it feels comfortable for you. I mean leaning into it when it's hard and leaning into it now to make progress. Sometimes we all struggle to stay motivated and move forward, and that's natural. It happens with all of us. But again, I urge you to seek out that support. There's probably someone who can help you. So that is the 4 pieces for achieving a strong foundation for growth and development. I hope you kept that thought in your mind as I went through this about that goal you want to accomplish. And maybe some of this will be insightful for you. Hopefully you get something out of it. Either way, your goals are attainable. If it's not this method, I highly encourage you to keep working on them. I want to share one more thing before my time is up tonight. Several weeks ago, when I agreed to do this speech, I went on the AGC YouTube channel because I wanted to see some examples of speakers who's done this exact same format. And so I immediately found a speaker who's talking about leadership. Perfect. That's right up my alley. I would see what the speech is like, but also potentially learn something, which was perfect. The speaker was really good, and the audience was engaged. They immediately were locked onto what he was saying. He was enthusiastic. He started talking about leadership skills and what he was going to share with the group. He told the group that he was going to help them with leadership skills to grow their business, to meet their career expectations and goals. Now I was hooked in. I was ready to hear what he had to say. So as he came to the conclusion of his introduction on that speech, he had the crowd locked in and pumped up. And he enthusiastically asked the crowd, he says, "Who's ready to have the best year for your business, your career in 2020? Yeah. My heart sank. I just had this pit in my stomach. And I said, oh no. I said, this must have been right before the pandemic. So I looked at the date on the video, and it was posted February 12th, 2020. And that pit in my stomach was just the grief and the concern with those business owners, those entrepreneurs, and anyone in general that was getting ready to face hard times. They had no idea the world was shutting down. And I just felt so bad, and I felt for those people. It made me think about myself as well, about how I had just left a corporate job to run my own coaching business when I didn't have a very solid plan to scale my business, to be honest. So I was taking a leap. And so I felt scared for myself as well. And I thought, what if this happens to me? What if there's something else that shuts down the world? What am I going to do? So I didn't ruminate on that thought very long. I started to ask myself, what's the risk if I don't do this? I thought, what's worse than losing all my money, than failing? What's worse than being out of work? Regret. I knew that if I didn't do this and I felt regret later in my life for not trying, the weight would crush me. So I moved on. I hope you guys take action on your goals. Vulnerability, working through emotions, taking risk is hard work, and it's very, very uncomfortable to work through. I hope you embrace those risks and you seek support from people that can help you. All of those emotions and those risks and those actions that are hard to do, I guarantee you that they are less uncomfortable than living with regret. My name is Philip Hilt. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.